I'm right there with you, though. We gotta get on diet, all right?
He wants
After
to
the
get
show.
that right on the table.
Yeah, it's just, everybody else is saying it who's watching, so I might as well say it
just
too.
in time for Sean McVay's wedding, we should get on like a diet plan.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll all be invited.
New box challenge.
About to be
wine box.
Is that what it is? Okay, I'm in the wine box.
Heavenly Buck.
Funzia?
Let's just do it, and let's keep it in the NFC East where we started. The Eagles won 4 straight division titles between 01 and 04, and since then, no NFC East teams repeated as division champs. Will the Cowboys put an end to the streak this season, or is it somebody else's turn to wear that crown?
I'm going to say the Cowboys. You know, I love what they did last year. And if you look at with what Dak Prescott has done in his career so far, first year, he goes blow for blow with Aaron Rodgers in that playoff game. Takes the L. Second year has a little bit of a drop-off, a lot of people say. You can attribute most of that to Ezekiel Elliott not starting that season. And then last year, takes another step, gets to the playoff, wins the playoff game. And I feel like this year, they continue to step in the right direction. So for me, I feel like Dak Prescott, with everything we keep talking about, and I keep bringing it up until these contracts are figured out, you have 3 individuals. This is the first time in a long time, maybe the first time of its kind, where your 3 best players are all up for big money deals, which means they are more motivated than ever. Usually it's one guy, maybe 2 guys. But when you have your quarterback, your running back, and your wide receiver all up for the big bag, contracts are getting crazy these days, these guys will play lights out. So that's the reason why I feel like they're more motivated than ever and will end this streak and continue to be the division champs.
Are you worried at all that there might be some tension with that? Instead, like you're looking at a very optimistic side of 3 guys wanting to get paid. There's no negative side.
No, if I would have seen or heard something out of these guys through the course of their career, then maybe I would think that or see that. But look at Amari. Amari, he literally doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to play football, and I know I'm going to get money.
Can you imagine Troy, Irv, and Emmett back in the day?
Oh, that's a different question. Different question.
That's totally different.
No.
This is when I'm supposed to start screaming about the Eagles and say, Nate, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I think the Eagles are going to go to the playoffs. I think the Cowboys are going to win the division. Because I'll tell you, if they don't, something went wrong. Like either Jason Garrett or Kellen Moore didn't work out, or they had a cataclysmic injury. This is the year. You know, we're talking about the triplets back in the 90s. This is the most exciting offseason for the Dallas Cowboys in 24 years. There's no reason. They got everything. And I think it's great that they got everything cheap, too. I mean, guys, this is the season. I've been waiting my whole adult life for the Cowboys to have the season. This is it. It was always, with Romo, was always, I don't know if he's got it in the playoffs. I just don't know. They got the horses. The defense is awesome. They got the coach who's already been there. There's not a new coach. If they can't win the division and go deep in the playoffs this year, what are we waiting for? What are we doing? I don't know. This is the year.
Are we on July 8th here, switching roles, and I'm going to defend the Eagles?
Do it. You got it?
Well,
they're loaded, okay? They're loaded.
there's just not a hole in their game. On defense, they're stout. Their offensive line's great. They added deep threats. Deshaun Jackson's back in action, which is a nice little throwback that'll be helpful. They've got Ertz. They've got lots of guys to throw the ball to. And, you know, if we're going to compare quarterbacks then. Do I trust Wentz if he can stay on the field? I have questions about Wentz, but clearly the Eagles don't because they broke him off big when they didn't even have to. So their faith in him gives me faith in what they can do. So I just feel like I trust Wentz a little bit more than Dak, and they'll take the crown.
It's a coin flip.
I like that.
Awesome competition. The Wentz card that you just played is strong. He's a higher ceiling than Dak. I think a Cowboys fan would respond, though, that we're just going to pound Zeke and our defense might even be better. It's a pick 'em. It really is.
Kellen Moore, though, versus, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of questions with Dak and company.
There's a big X factor. All right, so I have a question for the table, and it's fitting for this time of the year, this point in the offseason. Let's look ahead to the Super Bowl.
To Miami?
So who's going to represent the NFC in February?
Our next vacation?
Yeah. Who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? Is it going to be the NFC East, or is it going to be the field?
It's July 8th. The Saints are going to be in the Super Bowl. It's time. We're talking about taking a step up.
Didn't you say that last year?
Yeah, and they were. Don't you get me started on that.
Listen,
I think
they weren't there.
There's the NFC is so loaded, Kyle. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's really fun. But the question of NFC East team or the field, I'm trying to tell the kids at home, always take the field.
Yeah.
Always. Back in the day, it used to be Tiger or the field, and these morons would bet, oh, it's got to be Tiger, and then Charles Schwartzel would win the Masters, or whoever it is. Always take the field, especially when it's not a bunch of Charles Schwartzels. It's the Bears are incredible. The Rams went last year. I mean, there's so many teams. I love the Cowboys and the Eagles, and who knows about the other two. But you always take the field. Guys, do you know how crazy it was that the Rams got to the Super Bowl last year? Shocked. You telling me that it could not be some outlier we're not even mentioning? Field, always.
Somebody that we're not expecting to be good is going to be good here.
Exactly.
In 2019. All teams optimistic they will make it to Miami. But let's talk about this. You both chose Cowboys as the NFC East champions. Tried to weasel in a little Eagles talk in there. Neither of you chose them to represent the NFC East or the NFC in the Super Bowl, though. Is that a decision made from, like, statistical odds, or because you actually believe that the Cowboys have what it takes to make the Super Bowl this season? Because, you know, like, you're Mr. Take the Field. Like, what does it really boil down to?
For the Cowboys, you know, they immediately go to Dak. Never mind the money for a second. Just the huge moments. Like that 3rd and 12 in the divisional round or the wild card round even. Is he going to make the play? And he did last year. Like, he made big plays in Seattle until they ran into a buzzsaw in L.A. I think, though, the answer would be Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore. We keep talking about them over and over. If you just look at the rosters, their athletes are awesome. I mean, people at home hate to hear that because the Cowboys are so polarizing. If you hate that, I'm sorry. The Cowboys are going to be awesome next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you know, it's the same thing as said about Andy Reid. Can Andy Reid win in the playoffs? Can Jason Garrett go on that playoff run that's been eluding him for years? That's what it'll come down to.
Yeah, for me, it's about the progression. You know, when you look at the Saints and what they had to deal with the last few years, Cam Jordan came on the show. He said, just look at where we've been. You know, playoffs, next step, championship game, and then the Super Bowl. Like, he believes that progressively they're going to land in a Super Bowl. I feel like as a team, a young team, that they just now found their nucleus. Like, let's credit their talent on both sides of the ball, but they just now solidified their team, and that's going to have to be the thing that kind of carries them the next couple. See, you have to take your lumps. That's just the way the game goes.
Yeah.
Now, the Rams, they made a tremendous leap. I mean, they make the playoffs, lose in the playoffs a couple years ago, and then they just make the run towards a Super Bowl. So for that reason, I feel like I don't know if they get to the NFC Championship game because of the lack of experience with the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, the defense side of the ball, young, super talented players, and then the offensive coordinator, play caller. Like, that right there, as much as I love Kellen Moore, what is he going to be like? Say they do get deep into the playoffs. That's bright lights in a big stage. And there's a lot of teams that have been there.
I know.
Saints, Rams, like, they've been there.
You know,
they know what
it's
it feels like.
complicated with the Cowboys because for some reason the Bears are a very trendy Super Bowl pick. And they haven't been there. Matt Nagy's never done it. He hasn't ripped off playoff. And yet everyone's like, we like where they're going. We like where they're trending, including me. And yet with Dallas, you look at them, and I feel like we've kind of been down the road, and there's almost a prejudice because we've been there and they've disappointed us before, which I think is unfair, especially since this defense has not been there before. The defense is going to what carries the day for them.
So good. Who should be the favorite in the NFC?
In the NFC?
NFC in general?
Yeah, if it's not the Cowboys.
You know what's tricky is what you usually do is go to the NFC champ from last year.
Yeah.
And the Rams have such this unknown with maybe their best offensive player, Gurley. It's hard. I really like the Bears a lot, and I really like the Cowboys, but got so much to prove. So much to prove.
I'm going to go with the Rams. I still feel like they have a lot to prove.
McVay's incredible.
The way they drop the ball in a Super Bowl has to be eating them alive. I feel like Todd Gurley is listening to everybody who is placing one foot in the casket for him and saying that his career is over because of a little banged up arthritis in the knee. I'm going with the Rams right now. And then the Saints in a close second.
I was going to say, their last two seasons ended in a way
Horribly.
that motivates them, maybe more than any other team in the league to get it done finally.
No doubt.
I'm worried about New Orleans. I am. And maybe they'll win 14 games. It's so hard to keep getting back. And it's a convenient storyline. We'll get one step further. Sometimes things fall apart overnight. You could have injuries. Guys get old. Coach Payton is going to have to coach his butt off this year. It's going to be a hard year.
What do you think, Saints fans? Tweet us at #GMFB. Can Drew Brees deliver another Lombardi to New Orleans before he hangs up his cleats? Can he win an MVP while he's at it? I want to see those Ricky Lake earmuff things back on the field, Drew. And how important will training camp be for one Aaron Rodgers? Also.